Hello everybody, I'm back with part 2 of my collage mixed media art journals that I'm sharing. I'm doing these two videos back to back, so I'm still hoping my voice will hold out for this. I'm actually packing away all of these books. They were in a cupboard and I'm packing them in a box and keeping them in the closet, so I kind of want to get these done so I can put them all away. So let's just dive right in. One thing I wanted to say was my last video, I said my next video was going to be swatching, but I've been doing a bunch of finger work. I've been going through old photos and my fingers, because of my arthritis, I just can't do a bunch of swatching right now. That's why I decided to make these two videos. So hopefully the next one after these two, I'll be able to get back and do the swatching. This is a little notebook. It's put out by K & Company. It's a smash book, and it's a little mini book, and I only got 2 of these. So I've used one. I have one left, and I wish I would have got so many more because they are just the perfect little book to do a short little book without having, it doesn't take a lot of time. I did this one, I think, last fall. So it's all about fall, which is my favorite season. So again, I used my Instax photos, some real leaves that I cut out, that I picked up and pressed. And this is going to mostly be vintage images. Here I have a feather that I collected. Here's something I just taped in, an old sticker from the 1980s. Here is a picture that my daughter drew back when she was in grade school. And I had saved that and I put that in there. I love, this was an alphabet thing. And they had an animal for each letter. I love insects, especially insects that are wearing clothes. And this is a little story about an ant and a grasshopper. And I did some stamping along here. And then I have the little story to go with that. Here is another little vintage image of rain in the fall, and I used some newer stickers. And wow, this was our first nor'easter of the year, 94-mile-per-hour winds in Massachusetts. I don't even remember that, but we must have had quite a storm. And here's just a little collage of leaves and anything that just reminds me of fall. Ooh, I might like to draw and paint this one. Now, this was before I only got into watercolor really this year. So now in my books, there'll be more watercolor. Back here, I usually just did vintage images. Here's another leaf. Love this picture. Here's some more leaves that I glued this one down. This one's loose, and just put some washi tape there. I love pictures of little girls in scarves because growing up in the 60s, my mom always wore a headscarf. She still wore one back in the 2000s. And of course, I wore them when I was a little girl. So I love pictures of little girls in headscarves. Here's a very simple page. This is just one whole vintage image and then a little poem, and I did some ink coloring on that and some washi tape. A lot of my spreads are really simple, and I like simple. So here I just had some images, some stickers of insects that I put on here with another vintage image and some washi tape. Crickets are my favorite insects, so I usually always have to have something about insects, about crickets, if I'm doing anything about insects. And this is a larger picture that I cut up. This was part of this image, and then the poem was on there, and I cut it up so it would fit on this page. And it's just a little prayer of the cricket. And here I did a page about my favorite fall memory with my mom. We would go out looking for leaves, and we would iron them between 2 pieces of wax paper, and that's what I did for this page. You can't really see it, but there is wax paper on there. And then we would hang them in the windows at school and at home, and the sun would shine through them, and they're so pretty. If you're looking for a really nostalgic, fun craft for fall, try doing that. And it just reminded me of going to school back in the 60s when every girl had to wear a dress. And I love mushrooms, so this is just a little thing about mushrooms. I actually cut a little circle out of this page and then put a image inside there. Here's just some other couple vintage images, some newer stuff, and a sticker. And here's the rest of that alphabet. And some more vintage stuff. And here's some, I think these are off our pine trees. We have huge pine trees out beside our apartment house and our building. And here's a little tag that I made, and I put that in there with cutouts and colored paper. And then here's the last page, another little note from my sister saying she loved me. A picture of a squirrel waving goodbye. I think he has a sock here, and the kitten's running away with a shoe. I'm not sure about that story, but added that in there. And then this is just a picture of a planner from somewhere. So that was that little book. Really fun, nice and short. I probably did that the month of October last year. All right, let's see. Let's go on to this one. I love this cover. This again is these books from Michael's that fall apart. And I think this one, as you can see, the pages are all sticking out. I've had to washi tape them all in. This doesn't really need a lot of explanation. Ooh, maybe I need to move my thing up just a little bit. Am I fitting everything in? Yes, okay. This was a stamp, a double stamped image. This is off of a champagne bottle. Again, these are just out of vintage books. I did some fussy cutting. I love yellow and blue together. Here are some stamped images that were watercolored. And again, a lot of washi tape. This is a rub-on. A vintage stamp. Here's another red and black spread. Like I said, I love doing red. This is a red bubble sticker. This is something that a friend of Instagram sent me, and I put that in there. This is some vellum paper from Hobby Lobby, and I used that as an extra page. And then I did some more stamping. These are Tim Holtz stamps. This is from a restaurant. Here's another Halloween spread. And this one just has things, excuse me, vintage images, a poem, and then things from like scrapbooking stuff. These are just some alphabet stickers. Some stamping. This was a story that I wrote about a bald eagle visiting outside of our apartment building, and he was up in a tree, and the crows were going crazy, so I knew something was happening, and so I got to watch this bald eagle, and he hung around for quite a while. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, and I dated it. 2016, so that was a while ago. So again, vintage images and a sticker and some stamping. Here I did a page with just vintage postage stamps. I would like to do a whole insert of just postage stamps. I have, there's some videos, earlier videos on my channel about my postage stamp collection, and I have so many stamps. So I like to just use them in collages, but I'm never in my lifetime going to use them up. So I'd like to do more of this, and I may do a whole book of just vintage stamps stuck in. That would be really fun. This is mostly rubber stamping, and then just a couple of stamps. Here I did a fussy cut rose, which is incredible. I don't really have the patience for a lot of fussy cutting, and now I can't do it because of my arthritis, but this is probably one of my best fussy cut pictures ever. And then I did stamping, and again, more postage stamps, and I don't know if you can see here, but this is some, I want to, a stencil. I want to say mask. This is a stencil with the honeycomb. Oh, this is a page I've never finished. This is part of this image, and I somehow was going to put this on here, and I was going to write in this space, but I've never done it yet. So maybe I'll get inspired someday and finish that. And let's see here. What does this say up here? I want to speak to your soul, not to your mind or heart. I've got bigger things to tell than they can understand. This was a poem that I wrote for my husband. And then I used October afternoon stickers to spell out the poem. And then this was something that I stamped and colored. And then this was from a postage stamp. And I put that over it, and then just did some more stamping and coloring and collaging. This one doesn't really have a theme. Maybe just I did the brown, the sepias, the, that kind of color scheme. And this was out of a magazine. This is an old vintage travel image from a book. Here's another one of my favorites. This is done with just a bunch of vintage images, and I think these two might be stickers and some washi tape. This is some pictures from Tales from the Arabian Nights, and I just thought they were so beautiful. And so this was a very simple page. This is some of my favorite washi tape. It has all different colors. If you go down further on the roll, there's greens and yellows, and it's just one of the most beautiful washi tapes I've ever owned. I think I got that off of Etsy. Here's another kind of astrology sky image I did about Sagittarius. And here's another green page. I got this out of a magazine. Sometimes one image is all it takes. Like I had this image and I just went from there. This was actually out of a Vogue magazine. And I got that, and then I just looked for other green things and actually added one of my poems entitled Back in Time, A Walk from Here to There Becomes Everything I Remember About You. And I wrote that about one of my friends back in the 1980s in Boston. Oh, and then here I wrote that I dreamed about my favorite kitty last night. And she was black and white, so I used that sticker. And then here's the last page. I did a desert theme. I love the desert. So these, again, mostly vintage images, a postage stamp, and some rubber stamps. So that's that book. I hope I'm going fast enough to get through all these. This one's probably going to be longer than the last one. It was about 30 minutes. This might be close to an hour if I can make it through. Okay, this one's actually says collage art on it. And here's the back. Let's see if I can open it up. There we go. I opened them up and did them like one full picture on this one. Sometimes I don't. Like this one, I didn't really do much on the back. I just continued the washi tape. Just depends on what I feel like. And a lot of times this stuff doesn't always stay stuck perfectly, and I just don't worry about it. I'm okay with it. Excuse me. Here, oh goodness, I need a drink, excuse me. Here is a page that I did about a show. It's called Stitchers. If you like things like, it's kind of like a Fringe show. It's really good. And one of the things in there, they say is stitch your mind. It's about a girl who can, when someone dies, she can go into their mind and see the last things that happen to them, and that's how they figure out the murder. I love murder mystery shows. So, oh, speaking of murder mysteries, I have to tell you, I just watched the brand new show that's out on, I'm watching it on Prime, I think. So actually, I'm not sure what network it's on, but it's called Cross, and it's about a serial killer, which I don't watch a lot of serial killer shows because they're just too creepy. I used to watch Criminal Minds, and it got so bad I couldn't watch it because I'll have nightmares. So this one I started out, and I said, well, I'll just see. And the show is phenomenal. I binged the whole season, 8 episodes in one day. I was sick last week, so I was just hanging around. It's phenomenal, but I actually had to look away at some of the serial killer stuff. But the story is unbelievable. If that kind of stuff is your thing and you don't mind a little bit of creepiness, it's so good. Can't say enough about that. Ooh, a blue and yellow spread. And it's funny, I was just going to say, I love this. It says love this at the top. This is a vintage image. That's vintage. The rest looks like mostly newer stuff, some postage stamps. Here's another green page. I'm surprised at how many green spreads. Oops, I'm out of the view. I'm sorry, I keep trying to check it. I'm dreaming of getting the new iPhone. I have the iPhone 12 and I want the 16 so bad. There's a pause button, which means I could pause it and go take a break or get a sip of water or cough or whatever and not have it in my video. I would love that. I could put, I could do more in my videos, but we'll see. I don't really need a new phone, so I don't know, probably won't be getting one this year. But this is just some stamping and vintage image and a tag off of something that I bought. Here is a vintage image with some washi tape, and I just wrote out one of my poems on a, this is like a scrapbooking, what do you call those little things? I can't even think of what you call them, but you can use them as embellishments or to write stuff on. And I just wrote a poem on here called Dreams, Cutting Away Stars Until Whole Constellations Are Lost by My Hand. And I think I wrote that poem about a collage that I was making at a different time. This is a scrapbooking paper, and I just added some washi tape, and I don't think any of this is vintage. Here's another poem I wrote, Counting the Days. I felt you deep in my soul long before the world knew we existed. I wrote that about my husband. My husband and I have been married for 43 years. We've been together for 40, we've known each other for 46, been together for 45. Here is a vintage postcard and just some washi tape stickers. Oh, here's one of my Champagne or Prosecco labels. Now let's see, what is this? Place this end in the typewriter, bend here. I don't know where I got that. This is, I think they call these cigarette cards, and somebody sent me these from Europe, I think. Here's a beautiful spread that I did. I think I did this book while I was in Iowa. So when I wrote that poem about my husband, I was missing him and counting the days until I got back here. When I first moved away and started going back to visit my dad after my mom died, I would stay a whole month, and it was excruciatingly hard. But I couldn't, I would have liked to went back like 2 weeks in the spring, summer, and 2 weeks in the fall, but I couldn't handle the travel because I don't drive in the city, and I would fly into Minneapolis, and then it's a 4-hour drive to my dad's house. So I would have to pay people that I knew in Spencer to come pick me up and drive me home, drive me to my dad's house. That's 8 hours on the road. And then I would pay for their gas. Then the same way about going back home. I just couldn't do that twice in 1 year. So I had to stay a whole month, or I chose to stay a whole month. And it was very, very hard. Yeah, there's no Ubers, no taxis. Nobody will drive you from Minneapolis to Spencer, Iowa. Let me tell you, I tried to find anybody. So that's what I used to do. So here's another page. It is just flower nature. Whenever I was in Iowa, there's just lots of nature and trees and flowers and grass. My dad has a beautiful yard, had a beautiful yard. So so that kind of influenced my collage making while I was there. A day in the life of the forest. Ooh, here's another beautiful spread. This is a piece of scrapbooking paper. And then I just added all kinds of things on top of there. Maybe I should be lifting each page up. I'm sorry. I think that might take up too much time. This is another scrapbooking paper, another vintage postcard. When I was there, I used to go up to these antique stores that were about 20 minutes from where my dad lived, and I would shop and I'd go buy stuff. And so I put a lot of those in my book while I was there. Here's kind of a mishmash one. Thing off some slippers I bought. Some chocolate. Here's a little envelope. And here's a vintage picture that I must have bought somewhere. Probably at one of those antique stores. Thing from my slippers. A feather that I found in my daddy's yard. And here's kind of a bluish travel theme that I did. This is a Tim Holtz stamp. And a lot of this other stuff is probably Tim Holtz. I'll bring this one up so you can see it up close. This was an envelope that I had saved from back in the 70s that I finally used. Yeah, a lot of this stuff I'm not going to remember where I got it. Okay, here's a vintage map that I tore in half and stuck down, and this is a traveler's notebook sticker. This is also, and then I just added some other stickers on there. That was a simple spread. Ooh, here's another one of these postage stamp ones. And these are the last one. I love telephone wires. And this is about a woodpecker. It was a poem. And I don't know where any of that stuff comes from. That's Tim Holtz. And this was done May 2016 to September 2016. And I meant to grab my little thing of ephemera that I was going to show you before I started this, and I forgot. So I'm going to see if I can grab it really quick right now. I'm not even sure where it is. Oh, I got it. Sorry, I'm trying so hard not to be going off camera. Well, not that I'm on camera, but you know what I mean, and grabbing stuff. But I have this little box. It has a really cool lid, but it's packed away somewhere. And this is my little treasure box of ephemera. This right here, something from the 70s. Here's something from Target that I bought when I moved here. There is everything you can imagine in here. Here is something that my sister made me. Here's something that my sister stamped. More stuff from Target. Oh my gosh, there's just tons of stuff. My mom used to read Women's World. It's a little magazine, a thin magazine. And I would go through her magazines and cut stuff out. Here's just a word, fashion. Oh my gosh, there's just so much stuff in here. And I just keep adding to it. So this is my little box that I pull out when I'm doing a collage and looking for maybe a certain color or some inspiration, and then I'll just find something. And oh, here, this is cute. This is what I had when I was a kid to save quarters. And it was from a bank in our town in Spencer. And you could fill it with quarters and then take it into the bank, and you were supposed to deposit it into a savings account. I don't think I ever had one, but anyway, that's something I couldn't get rid of. So that's my little box of inspiration. So I encourage you, start a box of inspiration. So fun. You won't believe the things you can pick up. I have cigar labels in here. I have bookmarks in here. I mean, there's just everything in here. Mail. This was off a letter that somebody sent me. This is an envelope. So I just have tons of stuff in there. Now, I've been doing this. I've had this box for at least 10 years or more. But there's stuff in there from when I was a kid. So I'm sure you've got stuff laying around that you could start your own little treasure box. All right, 2 left. Let's do this. Quick drink. And, okay, this one's fat because this is an actual Traveler's Notebook one. So I'll try to get through this. This is 2015 to 2016. This is the very first TN insert that I had. Wow. Okay, in frame. Let's go here. All right. So I'm trying to figure out, is this the first book I collaged in? Maybe. This is mostly stuff that I got in the mail from friends. This is just a vintage picture. And I wrote about dreaming about traveling. My sister and I used to make up stories about traveling around the world. This was just talking about being outside on our balcony and looking at the sunset. My mom had this picture framed in her sewing room, and I took the picture. I brought it home after she passed away, and I kept it in the frame for the longest time. It was just one of those really old metal frames with glass, and I finally took it out and put the picture in here. And I wrote about it, which is cool, but I kind of wish I would have kept the picture in the frame. Here's a picture looking out our front door when it was raining in Iowa, and I wrote about how my sister and I love the rain. Here is just a picture of an architectural building in Persia. And so I just stuck that in there and wrote about it and put some washi tape around there. Here's a page that I did about going to the beach. Okay, and here are just fruit stickers, washi tape, mail, stuff from mail that I got. Here's a picture of my family when I was 7 years old. That's my grandma, that's my sister, that's my aunt, that's me and Nui. And then there's my mom, and that was my aunt's little dog, Trixie, I think. And I wrote a poem about that. And then I wrote a poem about, I wrote about learning to swim and the fact that we had a pool in our complex when we moved here, and I used to go swimming there quite a bit. All right, here I did a spread about India. These were just leftover images that I had from a collage kit I made, and this picture was black and white, and I colored that in. I absolutely love to color in black and white vintage images. And this is where I wrote about, I had a dream that I was at the top of the Empire State Building on my birthday. I wish I knew what this date was, because 16. Okay. So I had this dream. I don't think it's dated. But so I don't know if it was a whole year before I went, but I did go, and I went by myself, and I spent my birthday night at the top of the Empire State Building. So I made my dream come true. So that is a testament about that dream and that moment that I decided that I was going to go. Nobody wanted to go with me. My husband hates the city, and my daughter didn't want to go or was too busy to go, and I decided that I wasn't going to let that stop me, and so I went by myself. I have a whole traveler's notebook about that. Maybe I'll share that sometime about my trip. It was truly amazing. It was only a couple of days, but it was wonderful. So that was a dream that I made a reality. One of my favorite shows as a kid was Doctari in the 70s. My sister and I loved Africa. We always dreamed about going on an African safari. So I had these little cards out of a kit that I had made. I had extra ones, and I used them so that I could have a little bit of that for myself and that memory. And if you know me at all, you know how much I love the moon. So I'm always writing poetry. Wait a minute. I just realized I have another book. I have another collage art book, I think, that has more moon stuff in it. So yes, I do. And it's in progress. And that's why it's not here. I will have to show that at another time. I'm not sure where that is. That's down in my drawer with all my traveler's notebook stuff. Here's an image that I colored in, and I just put all kinds of things about the moon, and of course a vintage poem. This is more, this is just a picture of a mimosa that I made, and then just stuff about what we did, kind of like a week in the life thing. Here's a picture that I had saved since the 70s or early 80s, and I finally decided to use it, so I wrote about that. Here's just a little vintage image again that I cut out. This is just about the sky. If you follow me at all, especially on Instagram, I'm always posting pictures about the sky and the sunset. So this is just a page that I did. Not really anything vintage on here except that sticker and that stamp. This is Amy Tangerine. Here's a poem by Langston Hughes about the rain. And there was this thing in a book, the day it rained, one day it rained and rained, it rained all day. And that's what was happening that day in my life. So I made this spread about that day. Here I did a page about being a traveler. This was when I first was starting to get into traveler's notebooks, and there was a lot of talk about they were only supposed to be used for when you actually went somewhere on a trip and traveled. And I kind of felt like if that was the way I had to live by that rule, I was hardly ever going to get to use my traveler's notebook because I don't actually go on real trips very often. So I found this picture, and it says, "The Earth is your spaceship, and you are a space traveler on it. The Earth carries you swiftly and surely on a long ride through space." So it kind of helped me to say, hey, I'm traveling even if I'm staying at home. So I kind of wrote about that. I had a lot of flamingo pictures, images. I've sold a lot of flamingo kits over my time on Etsy. I was on Etsy for 16 years selling collage kits. So these are just a bunch of images I had left over, and I just decided to do a spread about flamingos. They're not really one of my favorite birds or anything, but I did that. Here's just some, this was a sticker off the utensil holder that I bought for our kitchen. Some vintage stuff. Here is a vintage picture of my sister that, of course, my mom probably cut her head off when she took the picture, which is kind of funny. My mom was notorious for doing that kind of stuff. That's back when you couldn't you didn't know if how your picture was going to come out until it was developed. A place where I wrote down some of my favorite scary movies. I'm actually working on a list which is like 4 type pages long of spooky, scary movies, vintage movies, black and white movies. So this is a very short list. And maybe I'll share that with anybody who would be interested. But my husband's helping me type it up, and I'm writing where you can watch it and who's in it. Bela Lugosi is my favorite actor. And so I kind of have like actors' names, you know, the famous people, and then what the movie's about if I don't know it that well. Here's a picture of me from 1968, the only picture I have of me dressed up for Halloween. And I printed that out on my Instax camera. Trader Joe's grocery bag, thing about Instagram from Maurice's from back in Iowa. We don't have Maurice's out here, although I think I saw an ad on TV and they might be out here now. This was something out of a vintage book. Not Your Average Joe's off their receipt. This was about Thanksgiving, which is very interesting. I like how I decorated the table here. And I don't really have a lot of Thanksgiving decorations, so I may steal this again for this year. It was sunny and 53 on Thanksgiving that year. And here's another leaf that I just glued in, and it's still sticking there. Yeah, it's always very warm here in New England, all through November. The first Christmas we were here, it was 71 degrees in the morning. I remember being outside, hanging out with our neighbor, drinking mimosas on Christmas morning, which isn't my idea of fun for Christmas. I want snow, but you got to just take what you get here and enjoy it. We usually get good snowstorms in January and February. So some more poems I wrote. High Up in the Clouds, July 2015. So I must have been flying back home from Iowa. Here's another little collage of all different kinds of stuff here. This was a stencil, which I do not have anymore. A stamp, some stickers, a stamp I colored in, and a picture of my sister. My dad's favorite thing was taking pictures of people from behind. And it's some of my favorite pictures that he's taken are pictures of me or me and my sister or my daughter from behind. It's just a totally different perspective. It's really cool. A bunch of washi tape, another poem I wrote. And this one has a lot of birds on this page. Oh, here's a beautiful vintage snow picture. Oh, yeah. Magic snowfall day. February. Yep. Surprise winter storm, 3 to 6 inches, winds 10 to 20 miles. So I wrote about the snowfall, and I think I spent all day sitting at my desk in my office watching the snow out the window. And I printed that out. Here's a red and yellow mishmash. Just grab everything that I can find that's red and yellow and put it in here. This was a label off of something I ordered, and it's from the Home Depot. I ordered a little step stool, and that was the sticker, and I love that it had my name on it, so I had to use that. Johnson's baby powder sticker, Target sticker, IKEA sticker, all kinds of things on there. This was a vision board that I made in my notebook. Always dreamed of a convertible, and now we have one, and it's actually white. And I always thought I wanted a red convertible, but I fell in love with our white one. And it's really funny that this is on my vision board, and it's a white convertible. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to share that with my dad. My husband. And this one, this was just at the ocean. This was a fashion magazine picture. And that was the other thing on my vision board. The only thing in my life that I don't have, if you would ask me, what is the one thing that you want that you don't have or that you've never had? And I only have one thing, and it's to live closer to the ocean. When we moved out here again 10 years ago, we're only like an hour and a half, 50 minutes if you take the highway from the ocean, but I hardly get there. And so it's always been my dream to live closer to the ocean. And we are actually making that dream come true next year. Hopefully we are leaving here and we are moving hopefully within 10 or 15 minutes of the beach. So my vision board has came true. So that is really exciting to see that. I love Alfred Hitchcock movies, and North by Northwest is one of my favorites. So I used to do collage kits for Hitchcock movies. And so these were just some pictures that I kept for myself. And I did this little collage about that movie. And then here we go with just some more vintage airmail stuff that I got in the mail, a stamp. This is a page, I think I did this when I was in Iowa, feeling lonely, wanting to go back home, listening to Rihanna, and a lot of her songs that I like aren't the popular songs, and there's one that says, "It's dark in the day, and I'll say now, don't complain, look up, the sun is just a cloud away." That's a line from one of the songs that I love of hers. This looks like maybe it was never stuck down there, I don't know. This is a label off the sauce. I use anything and everything. And this is something my sister-in-law sent me that she stamped and colored. This was a beach chair that I picked up at Target, I'm sure. And this is back when I had my Instax wide camera, and I've since passed that on to a friend of my daughter's. But this is a picture of our apartment building, and I wrote, "I live in the clouds," and it was just kind of a joke about on the brochure that talks about our apartment when it was brand new, it said, "And take the elevator up into the sky," or something, because it's the only, we live in a huge complex, but ours is the only building that has an elevator, so it was a really big deal. So I'm going to try to grab that other book because I want to add it to this. I know this video is going to get really long, but I think I can find it really quickly here. All right. So we're done with that one. Okay. I actually have two more. Oh my gosh. All right. Very quickly, this is one that I started for Halloween. And so this is one that I was going to continue like every year, do a couple pages in, and I've never finished it. This is just some washi tape that I got. This isn't really Halloween, necessarily just Halloween, it's fall. And this is some images out of a magazine. Oh, here's that tape again. You can see that the color goes from really dark purple and red, and it goes green, yellow, orange. Oh, here's some more movies that I watched. I'll have to make sure I have all those on my list. I'm sure I do. Another little collage I did about October. Here's, this was out of a magazine, and I don't know what the picture was up here, but if you can see, I cut out the picture and put a different picture back here. I actually think that's washi tape. And then here's some washi tape. Also more washi tape. And this actually has a photograph on it. It was always my dream to dress up as a gypsy for Halloween, and I never had done it. So that year, whatever that year was, I don't know, it was a long time ago. Maybe like 2016, 17, I dressed up as a gypsy. And so that was my skirt. And it's actually like two skirts. And then my friend gave me this scarf that I tied around my waist. And then there's just all kinds of stickers and stamps. This is double stamping. and you stamp in either the light color or the dark color. I don't think it matters which one you do first. But then you stamp it again, but you offset it a little bit, and you get this really cool look. That's really fun. Tim Holtz. Just a bunch of my Halloween fall washi tape. Here's another poem by Robert Louis Stevenson. More vintage images. I colored in the windows down here. I colored in the fire up here. Very subtle. And that's all I got. Oh, I've got some stamps. That was it. So someday I should finish that. Then here's the one I was looking for. This is all about the sky, night sky. And I've got a lot of my poems. I'm actually working on creating a book of my poems about the night sky and the stars and the moon. So I could read you one. This is Down on One Knee. Venus made a move on Saturn, and before she knew what was happening, a date was set in eternity. And I just love to fantasize about the planets liking each other, and I am absolutely madly in love with the moon. So a lot of my poems, I have a lot of love poems to the moon. And so in this book, I just picked a poem and printed it out and then made a collage around that poem. And here I did some stamping, vintage images, washi tape. And then this is not really about the universe sky, but this is about when my daughter and I went to New York City in 2019. And I have this vintage picture of the Empire State Building out of a book. And I'd actually torn it apart and threw this part away, and then decided I wanted it. So I pulled it out of the trash, and you can see it's all crumpled. But I wrote a poem to her about when we were on the top of the Empire State Building at night. And then I did some stamping, and then I did watercolor. So there I was into watercolor a little bit back then, but not much. More pictures from magazines, not vintage, they're watches. 2 more poems. And here's one that I wrote about my husband and did some stamping along the edge there. Poem about the moon. Here's a tarot card. A picture I cut out. This was a vintage picture that I wrote a poem about, and about the moon. Here's another poem about the moon. This one's very simple. I just did one big picture and some washi tape. Here's another, I've got like stuff in here that I haven't even finished. This is a poem that I wrote about the moon. Did collage, washi tape and stickers. And that's it for that. And then I have a bunch of poems here that I want to add to this. The little poem book, I wanted to do like a book of poetry, and I'm calling it Universal Love, Universe Love. And so I have some of those poems in there. That hasn't happened. Okay, so that's that book. It's in progress. Here's the last one. This is the huge smash book. I'm gonna have to put this way up because this thing is huge. Let me move all of these things out of the way. I don't have very many of these. I think I have 4 or 5. I wish I had more. Whoa, it's still not in there. All right, do we have it all in there? Oh my goodness, no. Wow. Okay. Now we're getting other stuff in the picture. All right, let's see. Is that going to make it? Yes, just barely. Oh my goodness. This thing is huge. Okay. Now, probably should cover up that swear word. I don't know. I don't know. I hear a lot about stuff that you can't have stuff on YouTube. Here is just a bunch of stuff out of magazines that I'm planning on using in this book, but just haven't got around to yet. So this is just collage fodder. Okay, this is from a song, and I love this song, and so I did a page about it. One of the lines in it is, "I love the moonlight, fuck the sunshine." So tarot card, vintage image, scrapbooking stickers. This is a Trader Joe's card that I did a sticker on. So just some fun collage stuff. Now, I haven't done very many pages in this, so this is going to be pretty fast. Here is a page that I did about a dream that I had. And this is a picture from a book where I used ink to color here. I stamped the caw-caw, and then this is just washi tape. Over here, I did this picture, and then I wrote about the dream that I had. And it was an amazing dream. And then I added some feathers. And it was a dream about meeting this owl in the forest. Okay. Here's kind of a fashion page that I did. If you've watched my Fashion Smash book, this is kind of like that, only I did it in this big book. I don't know why. Maybe just because I had some bigger pictures and I wanted to use them. This book is called the Pocket Book. Let me see. Pocket Style Smash Book. And it has pockets in it. There's a pocket there. So it's great for scrapbooking. It really is. I've used one for scrapbooking, and you can fit a ton of stuff in it. I'll share that sometime, but this one I just wanted to use for collage. One of my favorite movies is the Philadelphia Story. So I did a little page about that. Here's, excuse me, I'm going to have to get another drink. Let's just hope I can make it through this. This was another fashion page, and I just did a page about that. Oh, this is my most recent one that I did about a brand new song that's out. I love Rotimi, and his brand new song is what's the name of it? I Love Me Some of You. That's the name of the song. And so that's kind of on repeat right now. So I did this collage page about that song. I'll just let you see some of the pages in here so you can kind of see what this book is like. Here's one I did, a very simple fashion picture, some stickers, a pin. Here's another pocket. Oh, here's one I did. This one's very simple also. Just a poem and some washi tape and stickers. Oh, here it has one of these plastic things in it. Here's a envelope. Oh, here's another one I did. Oh, I see the shadows are coming. I'm glad we're almost finished. This is actually, this back picture is a Hitchcock movie, To Catch a Thief. And then I fussy cutted this picture from a magazine and put it over it. And these are a bunch of stickers from, let me share, if you don't have these books, I have 3 of them. You get them on Amazon. They are filled with stickers for collage work. They're fabulous, and they're like $15. I have 3 of them. So that's where a lot of those stickers are from. This was a magazine picture about jewelry and the stars, and basically I stuck it in and did some washi tape. That was it. Here is a picture from the Museum of Modern Art from an art book that I had, and I cut it out and I just wrote about what I saw in the picture. Here is one, this is just one big vintage picture, and I just did a little bit of collage work at the top. She's looking in a mirror, and I use a stamp that says, "Do you really see me?" And then here is one I did about my absolute favorite sculpture. And then I added some vintage fashion things with that. Here's another pocket. Well, not a pocket, it's more like an envelope. And I did fussy cutting here. And then another poem that I wrote, added that to that. So my poems are kind of everywhere. Now, I think that's it. Oh yeah, and then I have more stuff that I want to put in here in the back. Some magazines from Target. All right, guys, that is it. Thanks for hanging in. It was almost an hour long. So I appreciate you. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. And I'll be back soon, hopefully, when my voice is totally recovered. And I hope you're doing well and enjoy the day. Love you guys. Bye.